Good morning everyone, Wesley here from the Mental Awareness Foundation, coming from Brisbane, Australia on this chilly morning, isn't it?
It is.
This is my under the radar video, and today I'm interviewing the beautiful Sallyanne, come on you are, from the Hope Foundation. And actually Sally, we kind of met at your opening of the Hope Foundation, which was last year.
Yes. Oh, well, no, November 2014.
There we go.
Yeah.
November. Let's say a year. Time flies. And yeah, I heard about you. A friend emailed me saying, "Listen, this foundation's opening up. We should go." And yeah, went along not really knowing anything. And obviously, it's in the mental health sphere, of course,
it is.
with us. And correct me if I'm wrong. It's about postnatal.
Yes.
Depression with women, is that right?
Our aim is actually for healthy, happy families. That's what our big goal is.
Okay.
So it's really, the term is perinatal mental illness.
Yep.
And the perinatal period is sort of antenatal plus postnatal, which is up to from conception up to about 2 years after birth. And it's really about focusing on the mental illness. Can I try that again?
No, keep going. It's all good.
Focusing on the mental health of mums and dads, and by default, bubs.
Wow.
Infants have mental health as well. And so if we have a healthy mum and dad, that's a really good thing for little bub as well.
The one thing that really surprised me, because listen, we all know that mental health's quite significant in the community, but when it came to this type of issue with pregnant women particularly, it actually, is it 1 in 4?
So 1 in 7 women will develop depression postnatally, and 1 in 10 men.
Wow,
so it affects dad as well. So that's one of the things that people think, well, dad didn't get pregnant, how can he? But in actual fact, because it's such a major life transition, that often people don't pick up that it's actually quite possible for men to become unwell. But also one of the big things about that time period is because it's a big transition in life, and people confused, they are tired and they are challenged emotionally because they're introducing this new baby into the mix, and they've got to learn to get to know each other and all the rest of it, that often the signs and symptoms get missed of perinatal mental illness because they get pushed aside as sort of, well, that's what it's like when you've got a new baby, and so often people don't receive help until they reach crisis stage, which is really problematic because early intervention actually prevents the longevity and severity of the illness. So it's what we do, and it's Hope's Room.
Yes, Hope Room. Sorry. Just before we go, how did this all start? Like, what? Was it you, or was it a couple of you?
Well, there's 3 of us who are directors of Hope's Room. Debbie Spink, Melissa Bailey, and myself, and we're all people who have lived experience of perinatal mental illness.
Awesome.
And so one of the things that we identified was that having that information about even what the signs and symptoms were, how to differentiate between what's the normal transition to parenthood and when does it becoming, when are things becoming a little bit worrisome and that perhaps we need some help. We didn't know. We actually didn't know that. We knew about gestational diabetes and preeclampsia and things like that, but we didn't know anything about mental illness and the fact that that time of your life is actually the time when a woman is most likely to develop an episode of depression. It's really when we, you think about that and you think, well, what can we do to make a difference to that? And one of the things we do is contribute to antenatal education and raise awareness for mums and dads around the issue and signs and symptoms, and where to go to for help as well. So making sure that people get that information early.
It's amazing how your story, being a lived experience, helps so many others. So thank you for sharing. I guess, what are some of the symptoms that people can look out for? And I guess maybe to say that if they do experience it, it's completely normal at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah. So the difference, I guess, is that with the transition to parenting, it's quite often that you will be tired and you are feeling a bit challenged, and that's perfectly normal. But I guess the difference is if you're experiencing perhaps sleep disturbance and so you can't even sleep when the baby is sleeping. Often they say sleep when the baby sleeps, but if you're still not able to wind down and get some sleep, or you're feeling completely exhausted, you lose interest in things that you would normally enjoy, that's a really big indicator.
Yeah, okay.
And that those experiences, those symptoms are lasting for longer than 2 weeks. So it's really about knowing that, look, I can have a few bad days, but it's a few bad days is quite different to, oh my goodness, this is a bad life. So if you're starting to feel that your confidence in your parenting really isn't developing after a period of time, I mean, we have our L plates on when we get a new baby, and that's, you know, normal. But if we find that we're really, that confidence in ourselves, we're really still filled with self-doubt, then those things are things we can talk to someone about and get some support.
And does communication help? You
Absolutely.
know, obviously with your partner or someone that you trust, or family.
And that's one of the key concepts that Hope's Room promotes, is that what we do suggest in our antenatal education classes is we encourage the parents to have a posse. So we call it posse parenting,
network,
and that's all about getting their network activated and thinking about practical supports that they can get, and have some frozen meals in the freezer. And we've even suggested putting post-it notes of all the things you like done on the fridge. And if someone says, how can we help, or can I do something for you, go have a look at the fridge, pick a post-it note and do that. And it might be fold my washing, it might be hang out some washing, it might be mop my floors or cook me a meal, all of those kinds of things. The other thing that we really like to encourage new parents to do is have 2 parenting partners each. So this is both for mum and for dad, or whoever the other support person is in the family. And encourage those people you need to pick 2 people to be your emotional safety net, essentially. And you'll get those people, their job, their very special job, is to check in on you emotionally throughout this period, through pregnancy and after the baby comes along.
It's interesting that you're talking about a network there, and I guess the more that I've been listening to people in the mental health sphere that help others, building up that network's really important. So I guess if you are listening to this or watching this, please do build up that network. I must say, the Hope Room, it is flying under the radar, and you guys are doing great work. Like, where can people find you?
We have a website, and it's www.hopesroom.org. The other thing, we're on Facebook as well, and the other part of something else I'll let you know that we do, and this is more about educating the community, because that's one of the things too that we see as being really important, is having an education for the community. So we actually facilitate mental health first aid courses. So these are courses for everybody, not just for people who are in, so this is not so much the antenatal space, but this is the entire community. And what mental health first aid does is provide you with the skills to be able to have an understanding of mental illness, recognise perhaps some signs and symptoms early on, and then have the appropriate steps have the confidence to have a conversation with someone who might be developing a mental illness or who's in crisis. And it gives you a little mnemonic, so it's just like physical first aid with a little mnemonic, your Dr. ABC, or you learn ALG. That's the mnemonic for mental health first aid, and you get to really get a great understanding of a set of skills walking away from that 12 hours of training, of knowing exactly how to help someone if you're concerned about them.
Is that over 1 day or 2 days?
2 days.
2
so
days.
It's 6 hours of training. We try to make it, there's a lot of content, and some of the content's heavy, I'll have to say, I'll admit that, but it's also, we try to engage, inject a bit of fun in there as well. And if you're working in a professional field where you would you have a requirement for continuing professional development points, you can get those. You get your CPD points, and you come away as an accredited mental health first aid person. So that's something, a little certificate. You'll get that, and you can be the person in your workplace, perhaps, or
Sally, you're doing great work. What do you do personally for your mental health that keeps you in check? What's do you have a routine, or is there, obviously being a lived experience, you've come out the other side? I'm still managing. I'm actually awesome. So I still live with mental illness, and
for my well-being, what I do ongoing
Yep.
is I engage regularly with, I have a wonderful clinical psychologist that I speak
wow.
to regularly.
Yep. Awesome.
And finding someone like that I can talk to openly, and we have a great relationship, and that's a really key part of my getting well. I have a fantastic GP also,
Yep, cool.
and she looks after me too.
Yep.
And the other thing I do is I do a bit of Bikram yoga. So
Yeah,
I'm a bit of a yoga fan.
yogi,
I like the yoga.
Yeah.
And my husband and I actually have this thing where we go on days out.
Yes, good.
So what we do is try and
Bit
get
like
out.
a date day.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah.
because the kids are at school and we go for a drive and we go bushwalking,
Yeah, nice.
have a nice lunch somewhere, and go and look at beautiful views like
Yeah,
this,
magic.
that kind of stuff, and just
Yeah.
really make sure that we don't overload ourselves. And for me, that's one of the big things, is making sure I stay well rested,
Yep.
taking care of making sure I get a bit of exercise, but also some downtime and
That's-
balancing
that's
it all
really
out.
good. No, this year our team MAF has just sort of made a bit of a conscious decision about talking about mindfulness.
Yes.
Because listen, I think we all know that mental health's an issue,
Yes.
and particularly suicide's a problem. But what are some solutions? And not that there's a silver bullet, but we're trying to give ideas.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Like, I've talked about yoga and exercise, and I guess taking that time out. So
Yeah.
well done. That's really good.
Well, there's a really good app actually for mindfulness.
Okay,
from, have you heard of Smiling Minds?
No, not at all.
Okay, so it's a free app. It's
Yeah,
a
cool.
fantastic Australian initiative.
Yep.
And they also have a Mind the Bump, sort of an app that's based around mindfulness and things for parents
Yep.
as well. So Smiling Minds, Mind the Bump, they're two great apps and they're free. They give you nice little...
We love free.
We love free. That's right. So do we.
If you could put a billboard anywhere, anywhere in the world or in
Yes.
Australia, what would it say and where would it be?
Wow, okay. So, it would say it's okay to ask for help
Yep. Cool.
if you're struggling.
Yep.
Yeah. And where would it be? Oh, look, actually, you'd put it probably on every parenting magazine around Australia, or every parenting website. That it doesn't mean, often with new families, they experience that, because this is such a natural thing for us to have a baby and grow a family. We feel like we innately should be really good at it, and
Yep.
when we're struggling and thinking that we're not doing so well, often the issue with this time of life that we focus on is that people feel like a real failure as a parent at
Yep.
the most basic thing, that people have been having babies for eons. Why can't I do it, and why am I so bad at it?
Yeah.
And in actual fact, it's not that you're bad at it, you just need some support
Yep.
right now. And if a mental illness is at play, well, you're actually doing a whole lot more than someone who's actually feeling good and coping with the challenges and more easily in full health. So,
Yeah.
just a real boost to people to know that it's okay.
Yeah.
Because really sadly, from day 42 to 365 after the delivery of a baby, suicide is one of the leading indirect causes of maternal death.
Yeah, true.
So that's a really tragic statistic, and so it's really for us about focusing on that early intervention, getting people their supports around them, and making sure
It comes back to that thing of breaking that taboo about mental
Yeah.
health, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I know that's what we're trying to achieve with our event, and I must say
Yes.
there's some similarities going on with the foundations or organisations like
Yes.
yourself, that it is about trying to break that taboo. But maybe we're starting here. So what we'll do, we'll wrap it up. Now listen, please look up hoperoom.org. As I say, under the radar, these guys are doing amazing work. And if you are a parent or a father, which is a parent, and you just
Others
need
too sometimes,
others too, it doesn't matter, and you need some help, guys, please look these guys up. I'm sure they'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction
Yep,
if they can't service your
absolutely.
area. But that's me for today. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you, Sallyanne, and we'll see you next time.